Hey everyone, and welcome to another Star Wars Games update, where we bring you all of the latest and greatest in Star Wars gaming news. So today is the day that many PC Star Wars Battlefront 2 players have been waiting for, as DICE on Monday have officially pushed out a new patch for the game to help fight against hackers. It's not something most thought EA would see done given how the game was abandoned, and despite being late to squash the issues with the game itself, DICE did manage to luckily pull through with a patch in the end. Now, whether this patch is the end-all be-all for all the issues dealing with hackers and cheaters, then let's just say for now that this better not be the last time we've seen DICE touch up on Battlefront 2. And before we get into any of that, a quick reminder that if you do like these type of videos, then be sure to give it a like to show your support for this update series and the content within it. With that out of the way, let's get into it. When the issues in Battlefront 2 on PC started getting quite serious late last year, plenty of people in the community saw it as the final days for the game. Hackers and cheaters were running amok throughout every single match, causing nothing but headaches for normal players by using exploits that would either instantly kill everyone the second they would spawn in, or just make them all invincible, thus making matches incredibly tedious and, well, boring, since no one would be able to die and therefore match objectives couldn't be completed. Given EA and DICE's abandonment of the game, as well many of the original Battlefront 2 devs either being fired or having left the studio, then very few people were optimistic that the game could be turned around. It just seemed that it wasn't gonna happen. At that point, it looked like the hackers had won and many people had given up on the game, as it seemed that EA were content with the game's current state and wouldn't be willing to fix the problems around it, despite the many pleas from the community. It got so bad that EA even had to shut down its official help forum for Battlefront 2 because of all the requests asking EA to kick things into gear and actually do something about the hacker issue. And for a while, things were pretty quiet from them, at least until recently. As fortunately, that all changed last week when DICE out of nowhere announced that yes, they would be returning to the game once more to make a brand new patch. This time not for hero or weapon balancing or anything like that, but for fixing the several exploits within the game that hackers have been taking full advantage of. Now, it should be stressed that this has only been a server-side patch and not a client patch, and that distinction will be important and I'll explain why very soon. But the main question everyone has, of course, is what exactly have DICE fixed in this recent patch that came out today? And well, for starters, the 1 HP hack is finally no more, which was actually just the hackers and cheaters activating a console command on the server. And the command itself was even removed from the build of the game ages ago, believe it or not, which is why it didn't work in any of the offline modes. However, it still existed on the online servers for whatever reason, and of course the hackers took full advantage of that. And luckily with Monday's patch, they're not going to be able to do that anymore. Other fixes included in the patch are dealing damage to nearby players of one team, AI bot spawning, changing a player's team at random, and server wiping, which is all great as that alone does so much to help the game's current state. But like I mentioned earlier, because these were all related to code already existing on the server end, then DICE were able to wipe out these exploits in this one patch alone. However, having said that, this unfortunately doesn't fix all of the issues present, particularly the ones that are still prevalent in the game's actual code. This includes the objective skipping in Galactic Assault, rudimentary teleporting, and auto-spawn killing. So because these exploits are in the game's code and not the server, then DICE will need to put out now a client patch in order to squash these issues too. And unfortunately, there is no ETA on that, nor any guarantee that DICE will even push one out. However, given how DICE have been closely working with the community right now to figure out the exploits and how to fix them, then I'd say the chances of a client patch coming out are quite realistic. For the meantime though, the server-side patch has already done a lot to remove most of the exploits plaguing the game. So at the very least now, the chance of getting your game ruined while playing online are definitely not as high as before. Yeah, there's work still needed to be done, no doubt about that, but DICE are at least taking the right steps to help combat the cheaters, as it's a lot better than what they were doing before, which was nothing, just looking at a train wreck happen and ignoring the issue entirely. So this alone is a huge improvement over that. My only worry now is how the hackers will respond to all of this, and whether or not they'll try to spot even more exploits, or heck, even develop cheats of their own to mimic the ones that have already been fixed. Whatever the case will be, DICE will need to keep a closer look on Battlefront 2 now, especially to avoid the game from returning back to its previous hacker-plagued state. As for whether DICE will be able to do this, then that will depend entirely on them now. But with the community backing them up now, especially with ways to help fight against these exploits to begin with, then we can look at the future of Battlefront 2's online on PC with optimism once more. And that will do it for this Star Wars Games update. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share it, and subscribe to the channel to not only support it, but to keep up with Star Wars news, gaming, and canon lore released every week. And consider following me on Twitter and Facebook to never miss out on the latest Star Wars content. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.